Okay, this is the Dork Table. We usually do it on Saturday morning, but we're going to do a special one tonight. And I'm going to say hi to everybody at the RLM, the little traditional thing that Mary usually does. And I got a guest on tonight. His name is Larry Woods. So when I'm done saying hi to everybody, I'm going to just let Larry start talking and see where he goes with it. He's an electrical engineer, basically, and he's been working on some things. And I don't know what to say about it, so I'm going to let him do all that. Anyway, we got Asmo and Barman and Beth A. and Grimner. Of course, we already said hey to Grimner. And we got Moose Girl. Hey, Moose. And we got Kate and Trust No One and Atomic Punk, Chelsea something, and Chloe and me again because I got two things going. And we got Gary L., Graham Z at work, IB Don C at work, Java Doctor 2, hey Woody, Meister Brows here, Paul Bunyan, Rob Works, Sock Puppet, Vinny split earlier. He said he was going to hang around. And we got Clank, Colfax 101, etc., Frumpy, Grendel, Jehovah One, Wanatako, Kozu, and we got a bot, an MM bot, and Pawn Sauce, and I guess that would be Hands at RLM 30240, and Tip Bob at the very bottom of the list. And like I said, this is Larry Woods, electrical engineer guy, and he's got some really fun shit to talk about. So, Larry, go ahead.
Well, hi. I'm a retired electrical engineer. Been working on a new kind of electrical coil for a few years now. And I think we've come up with something that works. It's kind of unusual. A lot of the stuff we've done in the past has burned up. So at least we're making progress. We're not starting fires anymore. What we've done is created an electrical coil that has no iron core to limit the magnetic field. This coil is a toroidal shape. That means it's a donut. And it doesn't produce any heat at 3 times over the rated amperage for the wire. So we're putting 30 amps through wire rated for 0.9 amps and getting no heat from it. We've learned how to eliminate the eddy currents which cause heat in a coil. We're eliminating them magnetically because of the geometry of the windings. That doesn't really say too much to the people that don't understand electrical stuff, but what it means is that now to achieve the same amount of amperage, you can use 10 wire sizes smaller and no iron core. So that's kind of a big thing. And the not producing heat part is something that nobody else can do at this point. So we're really excited about that. We've got one style of coil that when you energize an electrical circuit and put a compass close to it, the compass will be drawn to that circuit. Okay, the needle will move. When we energize one of our coils, it doesn't move that needle, which means that there is no electron exchange on the exterior of the wire, which is called skin effect, and that's what everybody does right now, what everything does right now. It all exchanges electrons on the surface. This one style that we've got exchanges the electrons in the core, which means it doesn't produce an outside magnetic field. What that means to the layman is that now, instead of being like getting 120 chest x-rays when you take an MRI, it'll be perfectly safe. We can make x-rays perfectly safe. So that's
where they don't,
a big thing.
An x-ray that doesn't do tissue damage, really?
Exactly, an x-ray that does not do tissue damage. an MRI that does not do tissue damage.
Oh, well, these things, a lot of that stuff, the people that have these tests are not as clear on the details of that as they should be. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, trust your doctor.
If you have 2 or 3 MRIs, not even. If you have 2 or 3 MRIs in 1 year, you're liable to get cancer from it.
Wow. Well, we don't want to be doing that this week. But how did? Okay, is there a story behind how you tripped over the phase you're at now, or is this like all the years of work combined put together, or was this one like something you zoned in on and you went for it and you found the answer?
Well, C, all of the above. I graduated from college and went into the electrical engineering field thinking that I knew everything there was to know about electricity. Boy, was I wrong. It wasn't until after I retired and met a friend that opened my eyes to what's going on. He taught me the vortex math. He taught me pyramid math. He taught me Solomon math. All of these have to do with the golden spiral, phi, the Fibonacci sequence, things like that. Vortex math simply shows you how to plot a flat surface onto the toroid shape, onto the donut. And that allowed us to put our pattern, our geometric design, onto the donut, where we did the math on flat paper. Then we were able to, with vortex math, sort of make it origami and go around the torus shape.
Larry, you got a couple questions from Gary L. in the RLM chat room. He seems familiar with what you're talking about. If you've got the Real Liberty Media open. If you don't, I'll tell you what he's saying to you.
Let me see if I can find where he's at.
He's right there on the second line up from the bottom of the chat. He was saying, so this approach eliminates ionizing emissions. And I didn't know if
absolutely.
I don't know what to tell him, so that's your job. But I didn't know if you had it open.
You'll have to read me the questions. Yes, okay. It does, totally. There's no counter EMF from this. Under load, now this is something that I've got to tell you about it. Under load, everybody knows that when you add a load to any electrical circuit, you get a voltage drop. Under load, we do not get a voltage drop. What we get is a proportionate amperage increase. That amperage increase increases the magnetic field in the vortex. That increased magnetic field magnetically reduces the resistance of the wire. They're using this in computers now to make it faster. But we've learned how to do it in an electrical coil. And what that does is it gives copper at room temperature some of the same characteristics as a superconductor.
He says, now you're talking his language.
Great. And just for general information to you guys out there that are making coils, your magnetic field cannot cross itself at anything other than 90 or 180 degrees. If you do cross at anything other than that, it will create hysteresis, which makes eddy currents, and that causes your coil to heat up. It also causes your coil to draw more amperage to operate.
So he says, so it acts like a switching power supply.
Absolutely, but we provide it with flatline DC. No pulse, no nothing.
That's all that technical stuff that I don't get, but Gary L seems to be enjoying it. And and then I got the luxury of going listen to the show later and figure out where you went with all this. Well, I'm not good at all this stuff.
Well, neither were we. It takes a little bit of study, and nothing, absolutely nothing that we have done is modern. Everything that we've done is taken from the ancients. The Hindus have certain patterns that they look at to meditate. Some of those patterns are coil designs. A Persian rug from 300 AD had a perfect RLC circuit around the border of it, and it was even wired correctly. That's a That's an induction capacitance resistance circuit. And it was perfectly shown around the border of this rug, and it was wired right. So we're just not picking up what the ancients have laid down in most cases.
Well, what do you do to repair that?
Well, we've just got to start looking at things in a way that's not religious or not dogmatic in any way.
Oh,
look at them as motors.
You got a request for your website, Larry. I know I have to keep interrupting you, but somebody wants your website.
That's all right.
What is that?
We don't have a website.
I thought you did.
Website. No, we've got a Facebook page that's Limitless Energy Technologies.
Okay, hold on. Let me write this down. Well, you can hear you anyway. But go ahead.
Now, Limitless Energy Technologies on Facebook. Most of the stuff that you'll need to know, I post from other people's YouTube videos. We don't have anything that we publish at all. We don't share open source our stuff at this point, simply because we haven't completed the patent process yet. We have designs for a magnetic drive system that will go into the vortex of all of these donuts that consists of a stationary set of magnets and a cylindrical multi-pole magnet. These will just insert into the hole in the donut, and when you put the cylinder multi-pole magnet into the stationary magnets, it floats and rotates. So the only friction, that's the only moving part in our generator, and the only friction is air. Now there's a major problem to this, two major problems to our generator. First of all, it will have to have a circuit board in it to modulate the frequency. That circuit board will burn out probably within 5 to 10 years. So it's a plug-and-play thing. You unplug one, plug another one back in, you're back in service. At present, that board costs about $10. So if you paid somebody to unplug the old one and plug a new one in, it costs maybe $50. The generators, however, the magnetic portion of these generators will run out. That will be a major, major expense when the power of the magnets runs down. And they only last about 300 to 400 years.
Well, that's hardly a spot then, huh? I'll be running down to Walmart to get my batteries. No shit.
Now, so we don't want to make we don't want customers to pay for anything every month. We don't want to see a customer again unless they want to buy an additional unit for somebody else. Once we sell a generator, it's supposed to run from now until forever. So
right, yeah, 400 years might as well be forever.
Yeah, and we're not here to change somebody's culture. We're not here to change somebody's religion. If they want power, we want to provide it for them. It's as simple as that. And we don't really think that the governments of the world are mature enough at this point to handle this kind of technology. It literally will revolutionize the power industry. We've been told that it's the next generation of generation.
Okay, I got another thing for you here. Okay, Gary L's very interested in this conversation, and I'm sorry about having to interpret, but he didn't have the RLM open, so this is all we have for now. But he says, well, we have to figure out how to deal with the corporations that thrive on convincing people that they have to generate and transmit electricity.
Okay, let's talk about electricity transmission for just a minute.
Go right ahead.
We all know that the way they're doing that now is harmful. Okay, you can't, zoning people won't let you build a house under a high power line because it will cause you to have cancer. Okay, the Tesla equipment, yes, it works. Yes, you can broadcast power for a great distance. However, the frequencies that they are using to broadcast and collect are harmful frequencies. Everybody that lives under the umbrella of the Tesla power will develop cancer or get sterile. Something bad will happen. There's a simple solution. The Earth frequency is real close to 432. It varies a little bit now and then, but 432 is the baseline frequency. If you tune all of the Tesla equipment to be in harmony with 432 rather than in harmony with 440, then everything that is broadcast will be healthy. It will be good for you. It will retune your personal frequency back to what it should be. So it should eliminate disease, basically.
Okay, we've got two things to interrupt with this time. One is, one of the people in the room wants to know what is the source of fuel to run the generator. And the other one is, Mary posted the link on your FB page, but it needs administrative approval. So you got to okay it for it to run on your FB page. But yeah, the source of fuel for the generator is magnetics, right? Or am I not following?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No,
ding, ding, ding.
Got it perfect.
I learned something. Ha, 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 ha. Okay.
Good.
I get my gold star.
When you move a magnet, yeah, you do. When you move a magnet past any conductor, it induces a charge into that conductor. By having the stationary magnets float the cylinder magnet and make that cylinder rotate, that's your moving magnetic field. That will induce a charge into the coil. So it all works.
Wow, well, it's too bad you don't have the chat open, because you've got Gary L. and Rob Works making comments about, one of them said 50 to 60 Hz, was that hertz? And the other one says 8HZ 432 is a harmonic.
Right. Okay, so the generator has, so the frequency is proper for the power.
Uh-oh, we're losing you. Come back. Larry, you're breaking up on me. Okay, we have a little glitch with Larry's mic. Larry, we lost you for about the last minute. Larry, why don't you hang up and I'll call you back into the call. All right.
No, I got it again.
Oh, there we go. All right, never mind.
Everybody in the world. Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
Everybody in the world uses either 50 cycle or 60 cycle power. 50 and all that power operates within 10% plus and minus efficiently. So you just modulate to 54 cycles, 54 hertz. 54 times 8 is 432. So if 432 is low A, then 54 is low A, and that is in harmony with nature and will not harm people or animals or plants.
Well, it's hard to believe that the system that they run, that the people running it don't know that.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. This is not it's not original knowledge. It's not something that I'm the only one that knows. If you study the subatomic frequency of the Earth, you'll see that everything in vortex math, all of the frequencies that are extremely important, reduce down to 3, 6, and 9. So it's important.
When this is the key to the whole game, as far as our health goes, you really think that?
Absolutely, 100%. Everybody in the world has a specific frequency, like a fingerprint, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But humans are all within a frequency range. And the 440 frequencies that we've got out there in our music and all of our broadcasting and all our power, that's harmful. But if we switch it to 432, which is it's just a few hertz away, then we're back in harmony with nature. Once you're resonating, once your machine is vibrating, your body's a machine, once it's vibrating at the proper frequency, then all of your organs are doing what they can do to their best level, and you'll be healthy.
Well, let me ask you this. So if you got your home set up to this frequency, right, and you're running your own equipment off it, you're still going to get harmed every time you go out in public, right?
Yes, sir. And that's why we're developing Faraday clothing with reclamation circuits on it. You drop your cell phone into your pocket, it protects you from that radiation, it protects you from the radiation outside, and it'll charge your cell phone.
Special clothing for that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the military's got it already. The military's got it already. They just don't have a reclamation circuit on it. That's just a tiny electronic circuit that captures all of that EMF that Faraday suit is blocking and turns it into usable power. Right now, Faraday, their Faraday uniforms get saturated, where they're no longer effective. They have to be grounded occasionally to dump all of that charge out of them. So What we're doing is we're simply taking that charge, putting it through a circuit board, and converting it into electricity, so that it can charge your cell phone.
And it could be used, yeah. So you're using it instead of it being wasteful and destroying crap, right? That simple.
Exactly.
Okay. And Gary seems to believe the Rockefeller crowd were the ones responsible for changing the key A from 432 HZ to 444 HZ. Says that was no accident. Therefore, obviously, there's an agenda behind it all. I agree with all that. I mean, it's no accident we live like we do now. This is on purpose. I don't want to talk over you too much, Larry, but I don't want people to think I'm becoming a different person.
Well, I totally agree with that. This frequency was changed, and the chemtrails that are being sprayed.
Yeah.
Besides all the poison and radioactive stuff, besides all that, the aluminum that's in that, we're breathing that in. What that's doing is making our bodies more conductive, which makes us more susceptible to frequency damage and frequency control.
Right.
Through frequency, they can make you want to go to sleep. They can make you sick. They can make you passive. They can make you pass out.
Wow.
So it's all part of the control mechanism.
Grimner's got a question for you about, but it's a link. I don't know if I open it and it's a music link. I'll shut the music off right away. But I'm going to open it and see what he's got here. And
okay.
Well, we're doing this.
Hey,
oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's a link to a PDF. It's titled "Possible Technical Solutions to Lake Mead Water Shortage." Are you familiar with that, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut down Las Vegas.
Yeah, it talks about you in here, so I figured this is something that you were in on or part of.
Yeah, the Lake Mead thing is really a major problem, and they've dammed up the Colorado River to create that lake. That means that everybody downstream is suffering. I'm totally against trying to water the desert. If you must have water in the desert, the only way to get it is to core drill way down. I don't even think that we can drill deep enough to get into the core water yet. But there's not enough of the desert. So the more they water that grass, the more it soaks into the soil. They're just evaporating all of the Colorado River.
And you really created a little disturbance with the 432 HZ. You know, people get taught certain things, you know, and then maybe they're not sitting on them too well, but they remember it and they just bring it up and throw it on the chat. So Sock Puppet said he thought A plus equals 440HZ. And then Cowboy Tech says, but originally it was 432. So all this, I know you, but they know what you're talking about is what I'm getting at. But they have their questions about it as well, but you didn't have the RLM open, so I don't know what would appeal to you to answer, so I'm just taking shots at it. All
the questions. I'll answer anybody's question.
Well, they're not all questions. A lot of it is, their version of what's being said. What they know.
Oh, okay.
Not everybody's where you're at.
I attribute the 440 frequency to Hitler, to that time period at least. That's when it was changed. If you'll go on the internet and listen to music that's in a 432 frequency rather than 440, you'll find that it's more calming, more soothing, more enjoyable. It puts you in a different frame of mind. It eliminates the stress that the 440 frequency is creating at all times.
So what would you have to do in your house to accommodate this particular physical need? How's that for a question? Change over to your generator. That would solve these problems within your home, right?
Yeah.
So at least in your lair where you spend most of your time, if you're lucky, that it would be it wouldn't be damaging at all then. Well, how much of the damage would you say? Let's say the average age in the room tonight is say 50, just to be nasty. How much damage do you acquire in 50 years that this can't repair or can't accommodate it properly? Where are you beyond the point of no return in life?
I'm 67 years old.
Let me see your ID.
I have a Wii, the Nintendo Wii, with a fitness program on it.
Okay.
My Wii thinks that I'm 20 years old.
Wow, mine would think I was about 120. Okay. I believe you.
I have osteoporosis with 7 compression fractures in my back. I shouldn't be able to stand up or bend over or anything. And I attribute all of my health now to just the frequency that we're producing in the house off the generator.
Well,
We've
all
got
right.
one working prototype, and it's in my house.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that, but I didn't know how far you'd gotten. It's only been a little less than a year. A year since we spoke about it, so I didn't think you'd, gotten any real results yet. Big companies are going to not be interested in what you're doing. Or governments, or churches, or schools.
Yeah, we are going to start in the third world countries because we feel like the powers that be, the fossil fuel people, will try to kill us if we start over here.
Well,
once we provide power.
Let me ask you this: Do you have any kind of links or prototypes that you could sell or make available to American population? Somebody wanted to do their own. Oh, okay, so it's got to be machine parts and so on, and technical this and technical that.
Well, okay. Right now we hand wind all of our coils.
Oh, there's a lot of hands-on involved. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's very labor intensive. Right now, our 6-circuit coil, our smallest coil, takes two people 40 hours to wind.
And do you sell them yet to the buying public if they want one?
No, we haven't got any to sell yet.
Okay,
we're still testing them and playing with them.
That was one of the questions on there, if they were available yet. I didn't think they were, but I was kind of hoping they were. I'd like to see you do something.
Really, we're real anxious to get on the market, but we're just not there yet. We don't have the funding. That's all there is to it.
Right. And IB Don C says no DC/AC inverter needed? ?
Okay. When our generator is in operation, the magnetic drive generators, then you will have to have an AC inverter. And the frequency will have to be modulated. So at that point, yes, just the coil, you have to input power if you just got the coil without the magnetic drive system. Inputting power to the coil, we put 3 volts, 0 amps input into the coil and get 30 amps output at 3 volts. So, and that's through wire rated for 0.9 amps with no heat.
That seems to be the most.
Geometry.
That seems to be one of the more important things too, because there's a lot electrical fires. I mean, that's what starts them.
Exactly.
The heat from what it's generating. Yeah. So keeping it cool. How come nobody thought of this sooner? Ha ha ha.
Well, because it doesn't waste energy.
Right.
A standard transformer is 60% efficient at best, unless you buy real expensive transformers. A common transformer is 60%.
Wow.
So ours is way over 100% efficient in the amperage department. We can. The heat provided, physicists went through all of the electronic equipment in the world and had a big formula for it, said that 1 degree of temperature rise has been caused by our electronic equipment. And that's the cause of global warming, according to this guy. But what I'm getting at is that all of the electronic equipment may possibly have increased the temperature by 1 degree.
Right.
If we install our coils, that will eliminate all of the heat from every electrical device.
Wow.
Unless it's designed to heat up, and we can make a direct resistance coil just like anybody else.
Yeah. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it does appear to me that the society that we are in is not interested in what you have to tell them.
No, they're not.
But here we are in a little chat room with a few people that, want to hear what you got to say, and the majority of them are in tune with what you're saying. So there seems to be some kind of dislocation between what the people want and what the government wants us to have.
Absolutely. We've been, okay, the government compounds on mistakes. Okay, I said a statement 10 years ago that was absolute fact and was proven. So in the past 10 years, everything that I've said now is gospel truth. That ain't the way of the world. Question everything. Just because somebody had a good idea a while back doesn't mean that all the rest of their ideas are perfect. So if you see something that you don't want, design it out. I'm all for something that'll run forever without any maintenance, without having somebody come in and look at it, without paying somebody a monthly bill.
Yeah, but they call that an economy,
Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck between greed and sensibility. What's good for us isn't expensive enough. Let's do the expensive thing instead. Yeah,
and that's the problem that I see with a lot of these guys that are inventing these things. They over-engineer them. You add too many bells and whistles.
Yes.
My daddy used to say, don't get power brakes and power steering on a car because that's just something else that'll wear out.
Wow. IB Don C here says he's worked with electronics for 40 years. And, yeah, he seems to know, what you're talking about from what I'm reading here. And, okay, so you have an answer to a problem that pretty much is every problem boils down to this. This is the one cure-all that there truly is. There's ways to survive life. Like I smoke hash to enjoy my day, to relax, to feel better. And other people drink vodka, and other people drink coffee, whatever our little thing is. But this wavelength thing seems to go beyond all that temporary shit that we do every day and puts a true answer in front of me that I can really understand it. I can't speak about this because I don't have an electronic background, but I've got common sense, and what you say it's so simple to understand. I mean, even I get this.
Well,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Cowboy.
Let's discuss the universe for a second.
You feel free.
Everything in the universe, from a photon, the very smallest thing, up to the entire universe itself, has three properties. It vibrates. That creates electricity. That creates magnetism. Frequency, electricity, and magnetism is the Holy Trinity. That's the three things that everything has. That creates the torus field, like around our Earth, the magnetic fields. Those magnetic fields create energy in themselves. The center point of that magnetic field is where the spiral of all the magnets that are shooting out the end of that magnetic bar it's where that spiral is flattened out and turned the other direction. That's where all the power happens, right at the 9 point, at the 0 point in the center of that magnet. So that's the way of the universe. The whole universe pulses.
You have IB Don C at work, and Rob Works are both saying, "Can I come help make one?" So I don't know if they're clowning around on the site, and being funny or not, but still, you're inspiring that kind of a response verbally. So,
okay, let me help them out with making their own.
That's what I was trying to get to, but I didn't know how to ask it. You got to do it yourself kind of way that somebody with experience could use it.
I can explain some things that will make it a lot easier for them.
Cool.
Think of a barber pole with a spiral spiral going down the barber pole, or a Christmas candy cane with that red stripe going around it. That's a coil. Turn that into a circle. All of your wire has to be flat, like laying your fingers out, one right next to another. Don't cross it. Don't twist it. Every time you cross that wire, that's creating eddy currents in a hot spot. When you twist it, that collapses your magnetic field and turns all of those wires into one wire. You have to leave your 3, 6, and 9 spots empty in your winding so that your magnetic field will have room to grow between your complementing pairs of circuits. You can't have 1 or 2 circuits on a coil. That's a waste. You can't have iron. That saturates and limits your magnetic field. When you have 6 or more circuits, 6, 12, 18, 24, 72, however many, when they're all multiples of 3, then your complementary circuits, there'll be 2 next to one another with an empty spot, and then the next 2 circuits. That empty spot is where the magnetic fields from each of the complementing circuits builds, and then the next pair also builds next to it, so that each pair of circuits, their magnetic field complements the pairs next to them on both sides. I hope that explained a little bit about it. Don't twist your wire. Don't let your wire overlap itself. Don't collapse your magnetic field.
Wow. All it just sounds so simple. It's
it
like,
is.
common sense kind of things, but, we're in the 21st century, and we know shit. Of course, what we know has been taught to us by a bunch of idiots that were lying. So what we really know is pretty much worthless. It's sad, that's the way I interpret, because you tell me the truth about something that I've been lied to about, from your perspective, is the truth. I find myself agreeing with you and saying, wow, they had me doing all this other crap when I should have never done any of it.
Yeah, most of the methods that we use to make electrical equipment today are inefficient.
Right.
They limit what the circuit can do, and that's what we've eliminated. We've just allowed copper wire to do all it can do. We don't have superconductors. We don't have it super cooled or none of that garbage. We have created a perfect magnetic field. We've eliminated the eddy currents that cause higher amperage draw. We've made it efficient. And everybody can do this. Anybody that studied vortex math will know how to wind it. It's just a matter of how tight you wind your pattern or how loose you wind it. The tighter you wind it, the more problems you have with it. Keep that pattern loose.
Right, but see, that's what I mean, is we've been ingrained with certain behavior in life. Tighten up, and like the military thing, the short hair and the tighten up and the trim and all that crap. And what I found out later on is people with long hair are generally more intuitive to certain things in life. It opens you up in ways. Okay.
Yeah, you're much more aware.
Right. Well, okay. But then I get told, oh, you're just fantasizing because you like to have long hair. Well, blah, blah, blah. But there seems to be a lot more to the things that I believe than I thought. Because in school, they were always telling me to shut up. We don't ask those questions.
Yeah.
And
your hair is a sensory organ.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there a wavelength connected to that, too?
Absolutely. Every single thing that there is has a subatomic frequency. That's the secret to levitation, boys and girls. If you know the subatomic frequency of a particle, you can put another frequency with that, and cancel out that subatomic frequency, which means that particle will float.
Wow.
That's how Leeds Calvin did it. That's what a PMH is.
Mm-hmm.
Leeds Calvin called it a perpetual motion holder. I call it a permanent magnet holder. Once you instill that frequency in it and slap that bar on the bottom of that U-shaped magnet, it's going to circulate that frequency in there forever until you remove the connecting bar.
Wow. Okay. So, outside of changing everything, is there anything simple that we could do? I mean, it sounds to me like, all the conspiracy theories all rolled up into one great big, box, and then this is the one that links them all together, the frequencies. And the understanding that there is a world that we're in that's so small you can't see it with the naked eye, so you don't ever know it's there. And the people that do know it's there do their best to keep you from knowing it, and they manipulate the shit out of what they found to make us do things. And then we sound like a bunch of nut jobs when we talk about it. It's not fair, Larry. It's not fair at all. But at least we know the enemy. The enemy has been telling us lies. Well, if somebody believes the lie, where do you get them to take a listen to your, old new idea? Because, like you said, this is not your thinking. These are old sciences, old knowledge. You're bringing them forward, and you're using them in the modern day with modern day equipment, like calibrating. I'm sure they had calibration 2,000 years ago, but what did they use to calibrate it with?
Yeah.
I mean, they built pyramids. Come on, they did something right, but...
Yeah.
So how did we get from there to here? What the hell's wrong?
Well, Tesla equipment is a pyramid. It works the same way that the pyramids does. The Earth is negative. The sky is positive. There is a 50-volt differential every 3 feet. So you collect it.
Okay. Like when you shock yourself walking across those cheap carpets?
Yeah, it's static electricity. Exactly. The pyramids, the way they operated, is 177 feet below the baseline of the pyramid is the aquifer. There's a giant chamber down there in the aquifer. Now, it could have operated in two different ways. First, the way I think it works all the time is that when you move water through granite rock, it generates a small charge of electricity.
I didn't know that.
All of the rocks on the inside of the pyramid are electrically conductive granite. All of those tunnels are conductive. That's how they took the light bulbs in there and lit their way. Wow. It's just like carrying a fluorescent light bulb under a high power line. It's going to light up in your hand.
Okay.
So that's how they lit up the pyramids without burning things, and you can't even light a match inside the pyramid because the oxygen level is so low.
Wow.
So
unbelievable.
So the power generated by the aquifer is going up through these tunnels into the Baghdad battery room. Baghdad batteries can be charged. Okay, the bigger ones put out more amperage than the little ones and more voltage. Put them in series or parallel to achieve any amperage or voltage that you want. That charge is carried up through those tunnels as an amplified charge, goes up into the Queen's chamber. The Queen's chamber is filled with some sort of electrolyte. It could be camel urine. It could be zinc oxide. It could be water. It could be any electrolyte. With it being electrified in the Queen's chamber, that turns into hydrogen gas. That hydrogen gas then goes through another electrically conductive tunnel into the Grand Gallery that has 22 or 27 slots in the floor and the ceiling that held tuning apparatus of some sort, reeds, something to tune the frequency of that gas whistling through that chamber. That went up to the King's chamber. It created microwave and hydrogen. Okay, up in the King's chamber, the 5 great stones on top of the King's chamber are perfect on 3 sides, smooth and real nice and polished. The top of each one of those rocks has got great big chunks out of it and holes drilled into it. It was to tune those giant rocks to a specific frequency. That's what gave them the teleportation, that gave them communication, that gave them electricity. Now let's carry on. The inside stones.
You got a question? Let me interrupt that.
Wait, let me.
Question. Oh, all right. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to lose it. Okay. What?
Right.
It's about your coil. Is it the same coil on your Facebook page? There is a YouTube link to a coil. Is that the same thing? But I don't know which YouTube link he's talking about. You don't have any YouTube links out, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely not. Everything that I've given you a YouTube link to on my page is close, but no cigar. All of them still produce heat. They're close. They're real close.
I wanted to get that in there before the question vanished and he thought I was ignoring him. That was Don C., the electrical guy. He said he has 40 years of experience doing electrical, so there you go. But it seemed like an important question, and I know I interrupt everybody on this show. It's just like what I do. Okay, if you can get back to where you were.
Quite all right. Yeah, the inside stones, again, of the pyramid are conductive, okay? And that's a good thing because they're taking the electric charge. The outside layer of the pyramid that's mostly gone now was calcite, that is not conductive. What that did was force the entire electrical charge up to the apex of the pyramid. Okay, there's gold capstone that if you put it up to the top of the pyramid, the place that it would fit is like 22 or 23 feet above the top of the pyramid. That's because there was a dolerite toroidal stone placed on top of the pyramid. Let me tell you about the dolerite stones.
Okay.
Michael Tellinger, the man that's been studying all of the Southern Africa civilizations from 250,000 years ago, found a whole bunch of toroidal stones, a bunch of donuts that were carved out of dolerite stone. He took one of them to the airport because he was going to bring it home with him, and it blew up the X-ray machine. Just a rock, a donut-shaped rock, blew up the X-ray machine. Now, we've gotten one of these and have tested it. What this rock does is it amplifies, this specific shape amplifies the frequency that's produced from anything. Once you instill a frequency into this rock, it amplifies it. And that's what blew up the X-ray machine. They're amazing. And that is what helped to increase the power output of the pyramid. And that's exactly what we're doing with our coils. And it was strange to us. We really loved it. The exact dimensions of the toroid that blew up the X-ray machine is the same dimensions of our coils. We spent 2 weeks on doing the math to figure out the proper proportions for the magnetic field to be able to expand.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was just another verification that where we're going is the right direction.
And there is a question, I don't know, dolomite? Does that mean anything to you, Larry?
Yeah, dolomite is one form. Dolerite is the stone that he had. Dolomite comes from the same formation. They're hexagonal columns like basalt, and all it is very slow cooling lava. It's got it's got iron pyrite in it. It's got iron in it. It's got silver in it. It's got gold in it. It's got turquoise in it. It's got a bunch of rare earths in it. It's the volcanic lava that cools real slow. And
that's
the slower
dolerite.
it cools, that's dolerite.
Okay, dolerite.
The slower it cools, the more crystalline structure it forms. Dolerite has got a real jagged end hexagonal crystalline structure, but all the crystals are really, really random. So when you put it in the proper toroidal shape, it allows all of that random frequency to circulate in the ring, just like our magnetic field does, and magnify.
So it blew up due to hyperresonance, Gary L.
Yes.
That's a question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Because there's two conversations. I'm trying not to read the other one to you. It's not, And Cowboy Tech said gallium or some such when you were talking about the dolerite.
Gallium is...
Yeah, gallium?
Yeah, gallium. It's a different kind of metal, and a lot of people that are working with the superconductors are working with that. We don't. We just use copper.
And that donut could have blown up any machine that would have been in, or what?
Yeah, anything that instilled a frequency in it.
It would just amplify it to the point of blowing it up? I don't know how that would work. I've got a simple mind, and I understand the point, but I don't know how you get from A to Z. How do you get from putting a donut in a machine, turning the machine on, and then it blows up? It's like a bomb.
Okay, when you put the donut in the X-ray machine, the X-ray machine puts a real high frequency to it. That's what X-rays are, high frequency.
High frequency. Okay.
And that high frequency is picked up by the toroidal shape, by the donut, and rather than just bouncing back out like it would out of a flat rock, it is circulated in the ring of the donut. Because of the random crystalline structure, it keeps that frequency bouncing back and forth. And as it bounces back and forth, just exactly like a laser, that pulse then blows up the machine.
Wow, yeah. So Cowboy called it disharmony, and Gary said the same thing you did. He said, so both are crystalline, so they have fundamental resonant frequencies. I mean, this is like Danish to me, but I'm having a blast, right?
Well, I want to get together with all the guys you're talking with and start a chat room.
They got one. They're in the RLM chat room. That's where they're at now. We just didn't set you up properly before the show. I wasn't sure how this was going to work. I'll do this again with you. We'll do a better job next time. But for right now, if you don't mind me interrupting your stories to tell you, hey, so-and-so's got this question, I'll do that.
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, and Don C says that Cowboy Tech was talking about Tesla used. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not the real electrical genius at this table. I know that part. But I can eat donuts no, I can't even do that anymore. Wow, man, life's over. But, the Tesla, all the things that we've been had hidden from us as far as in technology in the public schools, the public system, the media, they never talked about any of this stuff. They bury it under, so-and-so got a new haircut, or an abortion, or a train wreck, or the president choked on a donut or something. And what people find important and necessary to know turns out to be just a load of shit to keep you away from frequencies. Who knew?
Yeah, it's all about resonant frequencies.
Well, we've got
faster than light travel.
we've got a musician in the room. I forget which guy. I got to go scroll back a little bit. But we have a guitarist in the room that was talking about certain amplifiers were being pitched, to get you to use this dull sound was the way I read what he said. So, what, sweetheart? Well, bring Larry into I don't know how to do that. He's at home on the thing with me right now, so that's what I mean. Rob, we'll do this better next time. We weren't really prepared for, I don't know. I just said, hey, you want to do a show? I thought I'd asked him and he said yeah, so we came and did it tonight. Maybe we'll have him on the Dork Table Saturday and everybody can bombard him with a million questions. If that's not too much for you, Larry. We're inviting you to the dance. Yep. Yeah, we're still having a little technical trouble too. But what I did was invited you to the Dork Table on Saturday, and we'll prepare you a little bit better, get you set up on the RLM so you can interact with the chat yourself, because these people here want to talk to you. So if you have nothing to do on Saturday morning, well, then we'll set you up so everything can get connected properly. And tonight we're just stuck doing it this way because this is what I did. And let's see. I got something here on the Skype. Let me see what I got to do here. But go ahead. Take it away, Larry, and go back on something. Oh, we're getting beepity beep beeps from his mic. That'll pass in a minute. It's like talking to Stephen Hawking. Yeah, when you get caught up on the mic, we'll just give you the mic back and take us on another electrical story. Point out something specifically that we've been misrepresented, and what you think the cure to that might be. If you haven't already covered it, you strike me like an optimist. One. Okay, I'll mute now.
Everybody can fix everything. On your electrical panel at your house, we have two legs of electricity. They're each 110 volts, and between the two of them, it's 220 volts. Okay, everybody understands that part. When you put your breakers in your panel, sometimes there's more of a load on one of those legs than on the other. Say on leg A, we have a 10 amp load, and on leg B, we have a 20 amp load. Okay? That doesn't sound like it's doing anything bad, but it is. The 10 amp imbalance between those two loads gets dumped directly onto your ground wire and goes back to the grid. It goes back to Earth. Okay? So that you're still charged for, but it's being wasted. The trick to that is to get somebody with an amp meter to test both sides, both legs of your incoming power, balance your panel. Put the same amount of power usage on each side, and that will eliminate part of your electric bill. Another one for the electricians in the group, make sure first you pull the meter. Pull the electrical meter first. Then disconnect your ground wire where it's going to the first joint of the water pipe, the incoming water pipe. At that point, put a capacitor bank with a spark gap going from your ground wire to the capacitor bank and then back to ground. That way you'll still be safe, but you'll be able to capture all of that imbalance and put it back into your system.
So as far as savings would go, I mean, can you give people a percentage of what that would change their electric?
Depends on your imbalance, but it could be as much as 30 or 40%.
So, all right, and the minimum of that could be as little as?
As little as 10%.
So either way, even if you just went with the low ones, if 10 to 30% of your electricity is being wasted just because of what you just explained.
Right.
What would it cost to have somebody come in and do that if you don't know anything about it?
I bought 100 250 volt, 52 microfarad capacitors from NASA that were guaranteed never to burn up because that's what they use in the space shuttle.
Yeah.
I got them for $1 a piece. So you can put all those capacitors together in any configuration that you want to achieve the amount of power that you need. And they're $1 a piece. You can put them on a breadboard.
And I got another, there's somebody else with a question, and Don C says, I have inline meters, digital meters. Is that what we're talking about?
It's an inline capacitor bank with your ground wire. But make sure you disconnect the meter. Pull the meter out first. If you disconnect your ground wire with your meter still hooked in, you're going to take that entire charge and it'll probably kill you.
Wow. Whoa. So this isn't for the lighthearted.
No, it's for the electricians.
Yeah, so if you're going to do this yourself, you got to know what the fuck you're doing or stay off this. Don't try this without parental consent.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to have adult supervision.
Yeah,
another way.
Oh, we got a question.
Way.
Oh, okay, go ahead, and then I'll get to the question. Somebody wants to know, do you know anything about Edward Leedskalnin?
Edward Leedskalnin.
Okay, you do.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I can
that's the
explain
request.
his entire process.
But first, the easy way.
I'll get to him after one more thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, the easy way to save power, pay strict attention. The power company charges you for 15 minutes out of your 30-day billing period. They charge you for the highest power consumption for 15 minutes out of that 30 days. So if you've got everything in the house turned on for 15 minutes, that's how much power that the power company has to have available for you. So they charge you for that as your base rate. Anything you use over that, you pay a premium for. The moral of the story is turn everything off when you're not using it. Unplug things when you're not using them. That 15-minute period, if you stagger what you turn on in the morning, then you will be charged less for your power consumption.
The little ins and outs. Yeah, well, okay. Maybe somebody didn't know that. Oh, yeah, no problem, Sock. It's just there's a lot more people are interested tonight than I foresaw. I didn't think this would work. So I'm just doing my end. And now, that question about who was the guy, Leedskalnin?
Leedskalnin. Okay, Edmund Leedskalnin was a 5'2" Serbian that built Coral Gables, Coral Gardens.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. Okay, me too. It's a great place. I loved it. Yeah,
the Coral Castle in Homestead. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You reminded me of it, and I've been there. So, ta-da! Another. I get another gold star.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna fill my dork book up at this rate. Okay.
Talk amongst yourself for just a second.
Okay. So now he's going to take a phone call, and I'm going to entertain you with my wit and sarcasm while Doctor is off doing things to the phone. Let's see. So would your guest recommend instant water heaters? Sock Puppet wants to know that one.
Yeah, instant water heater is just a direct resistance coil in a shallow tank of water. And if that all depends on how much your gas is charging, if you're using a gas water heater, or how much your electric is charging. what your water heater does is it keeps it hot for you all the time. The instant hot will shoot 220 volts to a direct resistance coil, make that coil try to melt, and that heats up the water real quick.
Wow.
It just depends on how much water you use and how often you turn that thing on. If you keep it on most of the time, it's not efficient as far as cost goes. But if you just, turn it on 2 or 3 times a day to wash your dishes and don't leave the water running, it's very efficient.
All right, but back to the Coral Castle, because that place is fantastic. And I did see it with my own eyes, and it was like, wow. And I'm not much bigger than that guy.
Okay, well, yeah, that takes us back to the pyramids and the.
Wait. You were breaking up on the last bit of what you just said for the radio. Can you repeat that, or do you remember what it was?
Yeah, that takes us back to the pyramids, because Leedskalnin was simply demonstrating how they built the pyramids. What he did is PMH, permanent magnet holder, perpetual motion holder, whatever you want to call it. It's a U-bolt with a coil around each leg. When you energize each leg of that coil, that makes it creates a magnetic field. You can put a bar between those 2 legs and then turn the power off. The bar will stay there because it continually circulates that magnetic field. That's what Leedskalnin did. His generator, his hand-crank generator, had a place in it for multiple shaped coils, different shapes. Each different shaped coil gave him a specific frequency range. As he was hand-cranking that generator, that put him at the same potential as the generator, and he reached over and touched a water tube to tune it. When that water tube instilled the frequency that was proper to lift his sample, then he slapped his bar underneath his PMH, maintaining that frequency. Then he could transfer it out to the quarry and lift his stone. That's Leedskalnin in a bucket.
Yeah, in that technical stuff that you speak. And you got another request for the FB page that you have, and let's see if anybody put it up. Oh, okay, Limitless Energy Technologies, Facebook.com, right? There you go. It's Grammy took care of it. Well, see, the people that know me, they know I'm useless on the computer, so they're doing all the hard stuff, on my behalf. Thank you, Mary. I'm sorry, Larry. That's why I call this the Dork Table.
I also posted a link to the Daniel Davis Manual of Magnetism, written in 1842, which is where Tesla and Leedskalnin learned everything that they know.
Wow.
And if you boys out there that's making these coils or making your magnetic experiments would simply read this manual, it's more college level than Leedskalnin's magnetic current, but magnetic current is plagiarized from this book. It's just in common language.
And Sock Puppet said he installs water heaters, so he's knowledgeable about that stuff. And let me see if there's any other comments here. Could use solar water heater 2 combination. Copper tubes for heat transfer. I mean, you're bringing up all this dork talk here, man.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Okay. If you want to heat your house, run copper tubes under the ground outside. That will give you 52 to 54 degrees constant temperature year-round. That gives you a small range that you have to heat or cool.
Well, what size is the copper tube, and how long, or how do you plant them vertical or horizontal? How do you do it?
50 feet of horizontal copper tubing run through your yard and back to your system will work. Then you run that copper tube through the solar panel.
Wow.
And that will heat it up. Then you run more copper tubes from that solar panel under your floor, and that will heat your floor and the rest of the house.
And Frumpy says, you have to define free. Tesla was going to harvest electricity for free. There was startup cost to build the equipment, but that's it, just like yourself. Just because there's people that came in late that don't know, weren't here when you were talking about your generator. But wow, you got to come back Saturday. We'll pick your brain for a while.
Okay.
But
there's nothing free. Nothing is free in the world. You've got to buy the components first. But once you get our generator, then every 5 years you're going to have to spend $10 on it to get a new board. And the rest of it will last until your grandkids die.
You got another question about, are you familiar with Mike Clark at Manetron? Mannetron? Question mark.
Magnetron.
Okay. No, he says,
no.
Well, there's no G in it. Manetron.
Oh, no. I don't think I know them.
Okay. Well, people are interested in what you know today. You're the big cheese on the table today. Let's see.
Not really. Everybody knows more than me.
I feel the same way in the long run. I think all that knowledge they shoved down my throat was a bunch of crap so that I would never find out what you're telling me.
Well, the way I see it.
Right. This is the real education I've been looking for, was to explain why do I feel as strongly as I do about certain topics, and you can't budge me one way or the other. I will not move. And I can't explain why I'm like that, but I am. And it seems that your wavelength theories take me to an answer to the question.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not only about energy sources and stuff, but for me it's about how my life operates. Why do I do certain things? Certain smells make me smile. Things like that. And when I listen to people like you over the past, it all breaks down to the microscopic world I can't see with my naked eye, and frequencies that I can't see with the naked eye, but they're there and they run everything. But we're not taught all that. So, wow, I got hijacked for quite a few years. But at least at my age, I'm open to the knowledge. And then lucky enough to find people that not only understand what you're talking about, but agree with you. So I know them, plus I know you, and it makes it a more solid foundation to start from.
If we all get together and share what little tiny spot on this great big ball of knowledge that we have with each other, then we can do anything. If you can think it, you can do it.
It's just that it costs money to make things. Manufacturing is the key to the whole thing. And the people that are in charge of the manufacturing do not want what you're talking about.
Absolutely. If you can't charge for it every month, we ain't going to do it.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that.
Well, if we don't talk about it, nobody's going to know. So, this is all right. Well, we've got 11 people tonight that took a little time to listen to what you said. If we can get those 11 people to tell 11 other people, hey, check this shit out. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's great. That's what we need.
Yeah, get your information to another group. I don't want people joining the group. There's big enough. I'm not looking for that. I just want the knowledge to be exposed to people that'll never hear my voice.
You'll get a lot more listeners on the podcast than you will live, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I even listen to it on there.
Yeah, so 11 is just a small sampling of the audience that you reach with a show like this.
Well, then audience that I reach with this little Dork Table thing we do here, if you liked what you heard and it made some sense to you, talk to a few people that you think might be interested and bring them to it, because I think this is something. It can't hurt you to know it. I mean, even if you don't do anything but tell somebody else, at least that's something. So that's where I stand with it, because I'm in, Denmark, and I'm not in the same social freedom that other people are in as far as where I live and how I live.
Well, I'd like to make another statement.
Oh, you go right ahead.
Anybody that doesn't go along with the way I think, please explain to me your point of view, because I'm not always right. Nobody is always right. I've burned coils up. I've melted stuff. I've had explosions. So, everything is a learning experience. And we're just trying to catch up with the ancients right now. So if you think something different than the way I see it, let me know, because I'm probably wrong.
No, but I have been taught that what exists is good for me. I was raised with all that. This is good for you. And then you grow up and you find out, hey, what are you, nuts?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the same people that shun a heroin addict want to have your baby inoculated with 30 fucking immunizations before it's 6 months old. But, hey, say heroin junkie around those people and they'll go mad at you.
At 25,000 times the allotted amount of mercury that you can have in your drinking water in the inoculations.
You're not supposed to have any in your body. I mean,
that's right.
You weren't born with a mercuriometer. No, that's a butthole, buddy. You don't put stuff in it. You take stuff out. It's a cleaning mechanism. Anyway.
If you want to clean some of the heavy metals out of your body, eat sweet potatoes.
Okay, and, well, I'm going to start calling you Dr. Woods. Okay, and why do you recommend that?
Because sweet potatoes help to eliminate the heavy metals.
See, yeah. Your knowledge is all based on that logic. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got a question. We have a question. Does Larry think about reverse polarization or reverse ionization of H2O and converting H3O, a combustible liquid? Any truth in it? He's asking.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes,
I hope we can hear you.
We're working with that.
Wow, whatever.
We're working with that. We're producing,
man, I don't even know what it means.
we've got an ozone producing group that's working with us that through electrolysis and vortex fields and magnetism is purifying water. They take staph germs out. They take the E. coli out. They take all of the diseases out of the water. They can clean fracking water at the site so that you can drink it. It's that good a system. And one of the byproducts is hydrogen that can be used. The hydrogen molecule is the oxygen's in the middle, and the hydrogen is at 102 to 107 degrees on that. When you polarize that puts the hydrogen at 180 degrees, and it separates easier because the hydrogen bond is weaker. So the magnetic field does that for you. Anytime you're doing any electrolysis process for anything, polarize your liquid first. And we're working on a process now that you separate only with the magnetic field and not an electrical field. And we're doing that with cold steam, cold water vapor. And we're able to pull hydrogen out of the steam, out of the cold smog, the fog.
Did that tell you what you wanted to know, Brow? I like talking with you, and I enjoy this, but you're sometimes way over my head with all the details.
All right, Larry, since you're on to the health and nutrition phase here for the moment, I just wanted to mention, I noticed on your page you've got an article on turmeric. Now, I've been a big proponent of turmeric for a long time, mostly because I like the taste of it. I use it as a spice in my cooking. Then I found out later on that it actually does good things for you. So, what do you got to say about turmeric?
It is probably one of the best natural cure-alls for everything. I've got arthritis real bad. I've got compression fractures in my back. I put turmeric in everything. I don't eat anything unless I put it in there. I probably go through a tablespoon of it a day.
Yeah, I use a lot of it too. My only complaint about it is it turns everything orange.
Yeah, people look at my rice funny because it's orange.
Wait, is that
But
what you're going to
really
eat everything? Or what you've eaten everything?
It leaves the dishes orange.
Yeah, it just makes everything orange.
Oh well,
It's good.
Could be worse.
It's a good antioxidant. It helps to lubricate your joints. It helps with osteoarthritis a great deal. It helps to, if you've got a headache, take some turmeric. It'll help your headache. There's lots of things that it helps with.
And you're also being questioned about the hold on, I lost it. It went up somewhere. Are there zero emissions from that first question about the combustible H30? From that question? Yeah.
Okay, from that question. Yeah. The emissions that you'll get out of that will be recombined pure water. So, yeah, you can...
Is that zero emissions?
Yeah, it's zero. Well, zero pollutant emissions. The emissions will be hydrogen and oxygen with no minerals in it.
I got a fun question for you. All right. I'm a hash smoker, so I have my preferences. What is your stand on hemp products and cannabis? Do you realize there's a distinct difference between the two? They're not exactly the same, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I never talked to you about it, so I didn't know where you were. Okay. What's your deal with hemp? What would you do with it if it was available? With your work?
I would make graphene. Hemp fiber makes the very best, most conductive graphene in the world. A normal graphene chip that's 4 centimeters on 4 sides will produce, at rest, 5.2 volts. When you use it, it goes down to 2.4 volts, but it never goes below that. You initially charge it, and it never loses its charge. And hemp makes the very best graphene that there is because of its long, straight fibers. Hemp can clean the ground. It sucks the radiation out of the ground.
Right.
It sucks the heavy metals out of the ground, and then it's easier to dispose of. Hemp, when smoked, when used recreationally, can put you into a more enlightened frame of mind. It can, different strains of it will alleviate pain. Rick Stimson, with his hemp oil, is curing cancer and a lot of other diseases with it. You use it for toilet paper instead of trees and stave our forests. You can get 3 cuttings off of hemp in a year, where the tree takes 20 years to grow to that you can harvest it.
And so, the gentleman with the long, that H30 question said, I capsulize curcumin 95% extract. I think that's to you, Larry. I'm sorry. But it's going up the page real fast. I'm going to lose it.
I'm not enough of a chemist to know.
Okay. Hey, they're just throwing out the stuff. I'm just reading it. It wasn't a question, but that's what he said.
I think he means curcumin. And he uses that as a supplement.
Wait, so I'm on the wrong question then, huh? Okay, whoops.
Yeah, curcumin, that's a brown powder, and it's excellent. It's another antioxidant.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what is oxidation? What is oxidation?
No?
Rust.
Okay. Yeah,
when
right.
Iron oxidizes, that's rust. Okay? When your body oxidizes, that's part of your organ or whatever's oxidizing that's deteriorating. Okay? If you can eliminate that oxidation from your body, then you will never die. That's why we have to be more alkaline. That's why pH in our water is so important. We're a machine. We are a highly tuned, very sophisticated machine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run a diesel engine on gasoline. You can't run a gas engine on diesel. You've got to put the right fuel in your engine in order for you to function properly. That way, when you tune your body to the proper frequencies, it stays there. As long as you're putting bad fuel in your body, you cannot maintain proper frequency.
Right. So there's more to it. See, every time you turn around, there's always another door open somewhere. You got to find out what's in there. So the electrical frequencies and such, the magnetic frequencies lead you to, if you're not going to fuel yourself with better shit than you're doing, you're not going to really help yourself as much as you could.
Exactly.
All right. So is this, some people spend fortunes on junk food and going to movies and just waste, so they could take that money and put it to this instead if they wanted to. I'm talking about me.
Well, yeah.
I could just reroute money from one thing to, hey, I'm going to put, because I've done it with a couple of powders. I upgraded my cinnamon because I like cinnamon, but the store brand didn't have a certain quality to it that helps you physically. So I went to the other store, the specialty store. You know how they got us all scammed. But I got what was recommended that I read, and I tried it, and I like it. And then the other one is the rose hip, right? Yeah, like yourself, I got bad knuckles, but I'm gonna do a little bit more. As I get older, things get creakier, so I'm gonna do a little bit more in research here, like this turmeric. I'm gonna try adding some supplements to my thing and see if Sir can't get a few more days out of me.
Look, natural spices are better for you than any supplement that's made at the health food store. Food
got a question.
is the best medicine.
In your best estimation, Larry, what natural product best assists the human liver in function/health ?
Wow. Okay, first of all, stop taking every NSAID chemical that you're taking. Non-steroidal pain medicine, Tylenol, Advil, Aleve. Stop taking all of that. That just messes up your liver. Your liver can regrow itself. If you cut half your liver off, it will regrow. So you can cure your liver. But as far as what chemicals that are the very best for it, I really don't know. I do know that all the non-steroidal pain medications agitate your liver and cause you problems.
Well, it does seem that whatever you've managed to answer with so far through the show, you've either hit people with things they thought of already, but were, they wanted that second opinion. That's the way I'm reading it. Nobody's having an original thought, We're discussing shit that's out of the normal day. You don't usually talk about this kind of stuff. So to hear you, and with your background, the way you explain it's so simple, I think you're just bringing certain things to the surface more than like being some kind of teacher, You bring common sense to the conversation, Larry. It's beyond it's beyond being preached at. You're teaching me something, but in a way that I really appreciate it. It's not like you're trying to do anything here. You're just telling me some stories, and I'm having a blast. Hell, we only got 25 minutes left. I mean, this thing's gone by in a blink. And let me see, if they don't think of some other question to hit you up with, because, like the hemp thing, everything that we do right now could be fixed inside of a 6-month period with my 3-step plan to cure the world. And I tell people about it, and they laugh at me because it's ridiculous. You want to hear this? Being as you're a captive audience, the first thing you do is you tell the truth in all your activities. You live on truth instead of bullshit. And the second thing that you do is you don't murder other people. And that's number 2. And then number 3 is you grow hemp like you know what you're doing. And inside
that'll solve a lot of problems.
Right, because inside of 6 months, if you started with the knowledge that you have, that you've found from the ages, right? You've unearthed stuff people buried. This is the way I'm looking at the way you're explaining things to me. You've rediscovered a hidden truth. That's a safe assumption, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you woke up one day and went, "Hey, I know everything." So I like the way that, the way that you tell it is so easy to understand. And then when you get into the technical stuff, there's 5 guys on the internet site that I'm reading that know what you're talking about. So it backs you up from people I've already, I interact with. And I'm going to go back on it. I hope the guys that heard you tonight will tell other people if they heard something tonight that they didn't already know or they didn't already have a plan to do, and now they do. Get the word out there. Let people know about this. The wavelengths.
If I can do it, everybody can.
Exactly, and the wavelengths, the harmonics, the better, a few supplements, natural supplements in your diet that'll make your life a little bit better. I mean, wow, that's a dork moment I'm having here. But for the most part, I'm a mean kind of sarcastic character, but I don't wish other people to have physical problems. I just like fucking with their minds a little bit, but. When it comes right down to it, I would hope that if this stuff helps somebody, that they hear about it. So let's tell them. Yeah.
Yeah. Think on your own.
And
if
besides,
it's not logical, it doesn't work.
And besides the wavelengths and the food, what other components are involved in this equation that we're in that if we approach them differently, we would get a better result?
Well, I think that you hit it right on the head. Don't lie. Don't lie. There's no reason to lie.
Well, right.
To lie, you got to remember what you said.
Our government's
got enough memory to lie.
But our government and our lifestyle is based on exactly that. It's all pretend, make-believe nonsense. And it's to distract us from pursuing what you're doing. So we agree. How boring.
We went to Indonesia a few years back to make a presentation, and they're all Muslim over there, or most of them. And people over here said, "Man, don't go over there. They'll kill you. They'll lie to you. They'll steal your stuff." Well, we went, and my partner and I, with no street lights, no light on the streets, at 2 o'clock in the morning, walked from our hotel down to a little 7-Eleven. We passed no fewer than 30 people on the street that were sitting along the edge of the street smoking and talking and whatever. Everybody looked up at us, acknowledged us, smiled, no problems whatsoever. The people over there were better Christians than the Christians over here. They never had anything bad to say. They loved their children. They loved their families. All they want is the same things that we want. They want to be loved. They want to be able to provide for their families, and they want to be left alone. So everybody in the world is the same. Everybody is the same. It's our governments that tell us, oh, he's evil because he's got purple skin. That don't work. That's not right. We've got to start presenting the attitude that we want to be presented with, that we wish to receive. And if we do that, then everybody's going to be friends. That's my soapbox. That, and it's time for us to get away from the dad-blame steam age. The Romans used steam power 2,000 years ago. Now in the atomic age, all we're doing is making a hotter fire and more steam. There's a better way to do it than steam, boys and girls. And much safer. Have I lost you? I'm talking.
No, I'm sorry. I had the wrong. I muted so that you could get a few words in there. I felt chatty at the end here, but the guys in the room are saying, energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay, that's the basic thing. And then Don said a box with a power generator coil is a lot better than putting rooftops of solar panels.
Oh yeah, solar
right.
panel. Well. Okay, let me.
There you go.
First of all, I think that solar panels are a waste of space. I've got a 45-watt solar panel that's 3 foot wide and 4 foot tall. 45 watts is not even a good light bulb. Okay, so at present, it takes massive amounts of solar panels to do any work. We have recently got a solar panel that's 3 volts that we can play with our coil. This is a 3 volt, 50 milliamp solar panel designed for charging a cell phone. We provide power to our coil with this 3 volt, 50 milliamp solar panel and get 30 amps output at 3 volts. So that's at least doubling the wattage output. 3 volts times 30 amps gives you 90 watts instead of 45 watts. And that 45 watts was coming out of a gigantic panel. So, and our 3 volt panel is 3 inches by 5 inches. So that doubles what you can get out of the big solar panel, and we're thinking that with just a few adjustments, we can do even better than that.
See, and there you go. All you got to do is ask a question. Here, the next one is, this is a comment from IB Don C at work, right? He says he'd rather put the money into Larry's generator. So, I mean...
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, right now we're just at, slapping each other on the back and a few kind words. But that's the beginning. That's how you get something happening. Because sooner or later, somebody's going to, besides you, there's other people working on the same shit. And if there's only one answer, you can't be the only guy in the world that sees that. But big oil is so big and so in our face that in such shitty ways that we don't even know, that the chances of the world taking replacing the shit they're doing now with the right thing is nil. But but doing it yourself, or maybe there's ways to have it done and ship it. I don't know, but you're on to something people are interested in. You might as well keep them, talk to them. What would it cost? Like you could work out something where if you're not trying to make profit, you just want the damn thing done. You just do it for the cost and the freight. Help a friend, and in time, worry about money. But there's people interested already on this shit.
Yeah,
I'm just saying from a little chat.
Yeah,
and this guy knows what you're talking about. Yeah.
That makes it even better. I like it when people understand. But where we're hung up right now is that we need a machine to wind these things, and there's not one in existence. We've got the design, but we need a mechanical engineer to help us with it to make sure that what we think it's going to do does. It's got to be a multi-axle machine. That can put a lot of different things into it, turn it a lot of different directions. It's got to be able to pass the wire through the hole in the donut and receive it on the other side. And nobody can do that yet. So there's a couple of hurdles that we got to get over before we can get into production. We want to license our coils. We want to sell license agreement and lease our winding machines so that you can make however many coils that you want for your own use. We want to be an OEM producer, an original equipment manufacturer for other people's products. Electric race cars. We're working with an electric race car group in Canada right now. They have 2 drive motors on their race car. They're powered by 1,000 pounds of batteries, and they want to eliminate the battery weight. So what we've done is these drive motors that they've got on the opposite end from the drive housing, their shaft sticks out. It sticks out far enough to put magnets around. We're simply putting magnets around those 2 shafts and putting our coil over those magnets so that as their drive motor turns, it induces a charge into our coils so that they can power a capacitor bank, both for getting the initial movement going and then recharging, and have another capacitor bank for running off of so you get constant power, and that eliminates all but one battery. So there's lots of things you can do. Every rotating surface can be turned into a charging surface simply by adding magnets to it and putting a toroidal coil around it.
And you're open to working with other people in this adventure, correct?
Absolutely. That's what we want to do. We don't want to go out as Limitless Energy Technologies, because then we'll get killed.
So
I want to be part
of a bigger whole.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I want to be part of everybody else's equipment.
And you never know who you're going to meet in life or how you're going to meet them, but if you don't tell them what's on your mind, they'll walk right by you and not know you're thinking anything.
That's right.
Because even I can't read the mind of the mindless. I mean, it should be easy, but they're thinking things I don't know what they're thinking about. Other people in the world, that joke went to fuck. Okay. But, usually I do the Dork Table with Mary. Or I've had Grimners help me out with it, and then we have guests, from the group. There's a group of us that are really not a group. We're more like the people that were, pushed aside because they knew shit that was too strange. Those people. So I called it the Dork Table because we were on another sites where it started, and it's growing. It gathers people. It's strange. But I thought I'd take the time to do this show so that we could get away from the politics and the normal things that people talk about, and do something either funny or specific or off the cuff. And tonight was really good. I really got a kick out of this. And You got quite a few comments here. Hey, I've got a few slaps on the back here, and people have been interacting with you pretty good. I got a kick out of it. Next time we're going to have you on the RLM so you can read the chat yourself, though. You've got to promise me that.
That'll be great.
And can I count on you for Saturday?
What time Saturday?
Same exact time you did this one, but on Saturday instead of a Monday.
I can do that.
All right. And then what I'd like to do is give you the last 10 minutes to pick a topic of your choosing and close us out, and then I'll shut the show down at the last minute. You up for that? You up for that?
Sure. You bet. You bet.
All right. And thank you so much for joining me here. I really got a kick out of it.
I've loved every minute of it. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's time that everybody gets to learn what we know. The folks that are doing the electrical stuff, some of these coils put out so much ozone that they'll kill bed bugs and people. Some of these coils put out such a high magnetic field that it's harmful to humans and everything else. So know the dangers, first of all. Know what it's going to do to your body. Know that keeping your cell phone in your front pocket is going to make you sterile. Know that your children from kindergarten to graduation in Wi-Fi, that 50% of your daughters are going to be sterile, and almost that percentage of the boys are going to be sterile because of the Wi-Fi in the schools. Be aware of the harmful things that electricity can do to you, but also be aware of how you can make them safely. If your coil is producing too much ozone, operate it underwater. If it's producing too high a magnetic field, put it in a Faraday cage. There are ways to get around these dangers. Never look into the eye of the Gorgon, like they said in Fantastic Planet. That means do not put your head over the vortex. That's where the high magnetic field is going to be coming out of these toroidal coils. Don't put your face in it. There's so many ways to get around the harmful effects and so many ways to make these things good for you. Remember that 432 is the proper frequency. Any multiple of 9 will give you 432 frequency. That's vortex math again. So 432. 4 and 3 is 7, and 2 is 9. That's
Larry,
vortex math.
Larry, I got a question for you from the room if you want to take it.
Sure.
I don't know if you minded being interrupted to talk about something.
Not a bit.
He says, speaking on ozone, what does your guest think about those home ozone machines and any benefits or lack thereof?
Okay, the ozone machines that you're buying normally are 2% ozone. That is not harmful. That is helpful. Think of it religiously. Anything to excess is a sin. Small amounts of ozone are extremely healthy for you. These ozone generators that put out the 2% ozone or maybe even up to 5%, perfectly healthy. They do good things for you. They eliminate all the bacteria in the air. Ozone is a good thing at the proper levels. Magnetic fields are a good thing at the proper levels. At the proper level, a magnetic field can make a broken bone heal in half the time. At the improper level, it can take the marrow out of your bone. So anything to excess is a sin. Just think of it like that. Small amounts.
I want to make a comment. I had an ozone generator for a while. I forget what brand it was. Big box thing with a fan blowing in it. Anyway, it was great in a way that, like, every time you open the door, you come home, everything smells like a rainforest in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it had a side effect that I was not aware of for quite a while, which is that everything rubber broke down. It just demolished the rubber in, like, your CD drives or gaskets, wherever, just from having all that extra ozone in the air.
Yeah, ozone is extra oxygen. Extra oxygen makes everything. It makes stuff rust faster, makes the rubber break down. Yeah, that's one of the side effects of it that's bad.
Right, I was constantly having to replace my my CD drives in my computer because
oh my,
the bands would just rot away on them. So
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, I quit using the thing.
But
well, I thought your impression of Stephen Hawking is great too with your microphone. It just added to the Dork Table. I mean, you're an addition to this table that's makes it more fun.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I thought a little backslapping can't kill me. I got to try it once in a while. I'm always hard on people, so I don't often take the time to say a nice word.
Well, I welcome everybody that has a different opinion than me. Most of the things that we do started out as theory. Before I believed that our coils were doing what they did, I changed instruments multiple times, meters. I called my brother, who is an engineer. We talked extensively about it. Nobody believed the readings for the first 20 tests, and then when we could reproduce them every single time the same, that you got to believe. It's none of the electrical formulas cover anything that we do. A standard electrical formula, 1 volt through 1 ohm of conductor yields 1 amp. That's the way of the world right now. We put 1 volt through 0.46 ohms and get 10.9 amps. So electrical formulas do not work unless you add frequency and magnetism to the equation. And when you do that, we can go to 2 decimal points of the output of our coil. So the whole math has changed.
Exactly. And they do that, they play the word games in every area. They change the sentence to fit the result they want.
Yeah.
Like with wages, and, income, shit like that. And to take it to this level, I'm not surprised. But you got 2 minutes to go. I'm just interrupting a little bit.
Well, bring in the young folks. You want to, my team, I'm 67. The youngest person on my team is 20. The next person is 28. So I've got, there's 3 of us all together, and the other 2 are very young. My 28-year-old friend is a math genius. He's the one that taught me vortex math and pyramid math and Solomon math and all the other ones that we've studied. And it's just eye-opening when you learn these ancient maths and see how they related to every single plant and animal on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. There's a specific formula that involves everything that there is.
Wow. Well, Saturday we'll pick this up again.
Sounds great.
Because we just hit the 1 minute to go mark, so I don't want to go over. I don't know if there's anybody coming on after us. I don't think so. But I want my first solo Dork Table alone with a guest seriously talking to be memorable. I don't know how many times I could do that.
Well, it's been great for me.
Well, good. We'll pick this up on Saturday at the Dork Table on RLM, and I want to thank Grimner for hosting the show tonight for me, so I didn't screw it up like I did with Moose. And guess that's about it. We're gone. Thank you, Larry Woods and Grimner.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Bye.
Hey, Grimmer.